I mean, to send more and more and more and spend more and more and more, like, we're spending so much money. I mean, an interesting thing talking about everything that came out today is Bernie Sanders talking about dropping student loans.
Yes.
Right? A big idea.
1.6 trillion or something, right?
Yes, please.
I mean,
no. Because, socialism is what he's trying to bring in.
Listen, if that means I don't have student loan debt...
Dude, who pays for that?
Yeah, but...
Who pays $1.6 trillion into that?
But here's...
And I'm saying this to be real.
And I'm being real. Sally Mae...
It's cool. It's cool that Sally Mae's getting your money right now.
Absolutely
but I'm
not.
saying that if the government has to bail you out, like it's bailing out farmers, like it's bailing out banks, like it's bailing out countries,
okay,
right? Where does that leave the government?
I don't care.
I'm still going to be paying taxes regardless.
I know, but you're going to be paying double taxes, triple taxes of what you're paying right now.
But here's what you forget, though, right? Is that you're still paying an insurance deductible.
Yes.
You're still paying a premium to carry your insurance, whether it's through your employer, whether it's through... So if you're going to add my taxes up an extra $100 every paycheck, but I'm not going to have to spend $150 when I go to the hospital every time, then that to me is worth it.
Yes.
But the other thing I think that is really interesting about the whole situation is that Bernie Sanders now understands that he's going to be attacked as a democratic socialist.
Cool.
And
crazy.
The idea of a corporate socialism is getting painted on the Republican side.
Yes.
And I think that is kind of where you go with the whole fact of Walls. Like, if we can bail out our own people from debt in their 30s, their early 40s, late 20s, the generations coming up that want to try and push the economy, if you can't do that, right, then how can we bail out Wall Street? Because Wall Street should... Listen, in a true economy that we're supposed to have, Ford should have failed. Chevy should have failed.
Yeah.
GM should have failed. The banks should have failed. Everything should have failed because at the end of the day, it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You know, in our country, our culture is quickly becoming a disease. Listen, it's survival of the fittest at this point. Like, you should be able to understand that if you do something and it has a negative reaction to it, that's a possible outcome and consequence of your actions that you've placed on yourself. And we stop that. We say, you know, as parents, you could say, okay, yeah, you don't want
the
your kids
government
to do
has
this.
become a giant blanket.
Exactly.
They're a nice, cuddly, warm, soft blue animal blanket with some unicorns on it, and they're saying, hey, look, man, I don't care how hard you work. I don't care what you're doing right now. Dude, if you're making $3,000 a month as compared to somebody who's on unemployment and making $400 a month and saying, I'm going to bail you out as much as I'm going to bail that person out. How do you take that?
As far as bailing someone out, like if I'm making it $3,000...
Well, I know you're getting yours, but I'm just saying, like somebody else is getting theirs too. Like,
I don't care. That doesn't affect me. It doesn't make me feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like everybody's entitled to win something at the end of the day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Whether it's the poor or the rich, like, everybody's entitled. Like, I don't want to say entitled, but everyone deserves a little slice of the pie, especially the people that are poor. How much student loan debt do you have?
I just graduated, so I'm about $45,000.
He's going to pay that until the day he dies. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, because I don't have much longer.
I graduated 2007. $16,000 in student loan debt. How long ago was 2007? How many years ago? 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. How much of that do you think I've paid off so far?
I'm going to say barely any.
What, just the interest?
Just the interest.
Yeah.
To the day I die, Tony.
Yeah.
No.
Well, how much of that is actually on you, though? Like, have you, do you scrimp money? Do you actually need to pay that off?
I pay extra, and it's not putting a dent in it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it's like, I don't want to have that held over my head for the rest of my life. You know
I'm not saying that you're not paying your bills.
Yeah, no.
That, I'm just saying that as a person, like I went to college. I only went to college for a year.
Yeah.
I went to Marywood. And not to say that I've seen people get into the wrong career choice. I've seen them get into the wrong placement of career choice. And I say that because they have liberal arts degrees. They have general studies. Mm-hmm. They have, like, things that they got into where you're never going to get a job in that field. You're never going to get a job at all. And I've seen people graduate who were psychologically set up for failure.
Yeah.
Psychologically set up for failure. But the college took their money.
Of course.
Yeah, because it's all about money.
It's a business, yeah.
It's a business. It's a business.
You have to understand that it is a vicious circle, though, that just continuously. So, all right, so you got credit card companies that are going to give Will a credit card. Well, Will's a struggling student, or any of us here struggling students. Will wants to get himself a tray of pizza. He wants to get himself some clothes so he can look nice on the campus and everything. Now Will has $400 or $500 on a credit card that he don't have any money coming because he's a full-time student. You know, he's barely making it the way it is, taking loans out to get onto the campus. Now, all of a sudden, Will's credit is shot. You know, you have universities and colleges that are... How this country allows nonprofit on a college or university that makes 50, 40,
especially
30,
in this state. In this state alone.
You know?
Yeah.
Churches.
I'll even bring
like
up the best
things that are-
example, which is the University of Scranton. University of Scranton is a huge non-profit organization that owns 3/4 of the town that it's in.
I live in Scranton.
3/4.
Scranton has it's maybe 40%, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit less of the properties in Scranton pay a property
In the
tax.
city itself.
Yeah, pay a property.
But they own properties outside the city too.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
that's ridiculous. You know how that... And certain buildings are donated and given to them in the name of other people.
Yes.
That's used as a tax write-off for those people to be able to say, I donated this to this. You know, like, it's a continued... The loopholes and the scams in the society have to get done, because I don't have a problem with someone getting a little slice of the pie and giving it back and saying, hey, you're on a hard time. You know, you just had a child and you need help for 2, 3, 4 years. I don't agree with it being a form of life, let's just say, which is what people usually get mad at, is the fact that it's people just know how to manipulate the system and take it.
Yes.
But what I have seen from growing up in low-income housing is people who use it know how to use it to be able to better themselves and then move up from that situation.
Yes.
Because you could be low class your whole life, or you can understand that you want to save your money and you want to climb that ladder and do better for your... The only thing that you can ask is that you do better for your children in the long run, or the people that you leave this world to. Like your foundation. Your foundation is something that when you're gone and you put it in the hands of the right person, that's going to continue to grow, and that's going to continue to help
You want to see
people.
it blossom into something different.
Yeah.
Something beautiful. Mm-hmm. And there are people, like you said, who take advantage. And they know the system. They know how to work the system. And they continually work the system every single time. Like, I've seen people who do adoption for kids. Man, that's like my push button right there. That's my detonation switch. Because you're messing with kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Like, these people are taking money in every month because they're, they're taking in children. And what do? Like, they just kick them out. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm just getting a paycheck. Yo, you use the system for food stamps. You use the system for free lunches at school. Yeah. You use the system for free clothing, free backpacks, free bedding, free stuff from the church. And I'm not saying that the church is, not a bad place to get stuff, because every church reaches out to the people that can't afford things that they. But there are people who take advantage. I have acquaintances that I know, not necessarily friends, but there are people that I know that take out their kids every year. They could afford Christmas presents, but they take their kids every year to the local churches to get presents for their kids.
Well, I think...
And tell me that's not taking advantage.
I think anyone's going to learn how to manipulate the system at some point if you give them free reign on it. You have to have checks and balances. But just like what we were talking about originally, like with democratic socialism, I genuinely think that at this turning point in society, right, we either need to get a break as the 90% that don't get anything, or you're really going to see history repeat itself in the fact of the Roman Empire. Because the senators down there are making $150,000, $250,000 a year. How do you have $15 million in the bank?
Yeah.
Sick. And how do people complain like, listen, if I'm making over $5 million, I'm living... If I'm lucky to see $1 million in my lifetime,
yeah,
that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
So if I make $5 million in 1 year and you want to tax me 80% on whatever I make over 2, believe me, like it's not struggle. Like I'm not buying yachts and I'm not buying this and that. So if you're going to take away from the Bezos, the Waltons, and the Koch brothers, and all these people that... Because, listen, if you don't want to and you want to take your money out of the economy, do it. Because it's tanked before and it'll come back again. It has to bounce, you know?
Sure.
Our country is based on a system where we loan money with interest on it already. So before we even get the money, you're paying 2, 3, 4 times interest because you're paying your student loan back off money that you get from your job, which is loaned back from... No matter what, the system is always meant to keep us down until we as a group decide that we're going to lift up. You know, did you ever see the painting where there's a bunch of poor people and they're leaned over and the rich people are playing a board game on their back and they say, if we all stand up, there's no place to play your game anymore.
Yeah.
I think as a culture, someone is going to grab that idea and run with it. It's just like when Hitler had all the poor people and everything. Like they just believed in somebody that came in and said, "This is what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to lift you guys." And that's how he became power. He was in jail, you know. So really, someone has to grab that with the American idea and run with it.
Go ahead, brother.
This is the second time we've brought up Hitler. This is the second time. I feel like you're a big fan of the H-man.
I gotta give him credit that he came out of prison and did something. Like I'm not saying that anything that he did as a leader or anything, and obviously with the Holocaust was absolutely terrible. But as a mind, he was a sharp mind. Like I'm not saying I agree with 90%, 95, 98% of what he said, but.
Look, he was a great mind, and I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish too. Like I'm not saying that I like what he did, but I like where his mindset was as far as leading his people with scientific technology, and not necessarily just bringing them into the forefront, but trying to expand them past the point in the forefront, as far as like being industry moguls. They wanted to be the best in industry, to be honest, like in the whole world. And their point was, let's do it as a society group. Like they were very I don't want to say one-minded individuals, but they wanted to wipe everybody out so that they could start a utopia to start with him.
He was so smart that he had people believing that the ultimate race was what he wasn't, like blonde hair, blue eyes, and he had none of those features whatsoever.
Yeah,
like just crazy.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy.
It's just someone that understands an idea and grabs it for what it is. Like so much further along in his time than other people could understand. Like now, because we've studied it and we understand what the history is behind it, we have a better grasp of it. But it could still happen in any. Look at what's his name, dude. 60% of the country hates Putin, but he won his election by 70%. How those numbers even come up because you're afraid to go.
Well,
you can't
to
really
be perfectly
use
honest, he uses strong arm tactics a lot, and it's worldwide known that he uses strong arm tactics. Yeah. But if you're in that position of power, and you can do that, like, dude, I'd blast a couple people in the head just to prove my point. I'm just saying because he has done that. He's shot people, and I'm not saying that he did it personally, but he has ordered the death of
just like
industry moguls. Where he's just like, look, if you're not doing this for the country, then you're doing this against me, and you need to die.
Man, you were just bringing up some like crazy leaders over here. Like, jeez, like
because the history. If you don't study history, it's going to repeat itself.
Absolutely,
that's true.
You know, we were before we started this podcast, before you guys got here. Me and Tony were talking about a genius. You know who that genius is? Who might lead us all to salvation? You know who I'm talking about?
Go for it, brother.
Kanye West. Listen, the man treads that thin line between a genius and an insane person, okay? Hitler. You just brought up Hitler. Insane tactics.
True. That's true.
Putin. Crazy. Kim Jong-un. Crazy.
Absolutely.
Kanye West. 2020. Come on, man. Set us free. I want a free pair of Yeezys. Okay, Kanye? If
you're gonna watch the show, look. Listen, I strongly endorse us with some Yeezys.
I already have holes in my t-shirts and I look like a homeless person on multiple occasions. That's how your whole style is, Kanye.
That's true.
I'm the perfect spokesman.
That's true.
I'm one
step. If you got back to us,
it would be crazy. Let's get Kanye West here.
#E.
Yes. Like, yay, we need you here. If you're listening to this, you're going to